My name is Sara Parkin. I'm a founder director of Forum for the Future, a sustainable development charity. And I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to this event. It's very timely and it's very appropriate. I think we've mostly recovered from our post-Copenhagen tristesse. And I think it's sort of even if the impossible had happened, which was essentially 192 countries trying to agree a common energy policy, and perhaps the process was not the best process for doing something like that, so we shouldn't perhaps have been surprised at a disappointing outcome. But I think even if it had been, the miraculous had happened, it would still be down to thee and me to do the implementation. It doesn't really matter what happens at international treaty level. It is still down to us in the communities to implement. Now, the UK territory for meeting different targets for CO2 emission is getting clear. I don't know how many of you have looked at David Mackay's Pathways to 2050. He's the chief scientist in the Department of Energy and Climate Change. Have any of you looked at those? It's really well worth logging on and looking, because it's very sobering, but there are helpful tools for making decisions now that are going to help us meet legally binding and indeed morally binding targets for 2050. And the Committee for Climate Change, of course, said we are going to have to get a step change in what we're doing and how we're getting there. Now, the role of local government couldn't be more important. Despite a sort of fog around the whole notion of a big society, and everybody's sort of wearing big bandages from the deep flesh wounds from the comprehensive cutting review. But there are still huge opportunities to save pounds as well as carbon in a way that increases human well-being, and that's often missing when we talk about reducing CO2, about the importance of doing it in ways that actually adds to the well-being of people. And if they're not joined up in Westminster, then at least I think most of us are on the ground.